Don't wait 28 years to forgive yourself. I know.
She lost charities because of those emails. She lost professional roles because of those emails. Now she has lost this book because of those emails.
Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Sarah Ferguson's latest children's book about kindness has just been scrapped and pulped. And no, this is not unfortunate timing. This is what happens when the gap between the image you sell and the life you've lived becomes impossible to ignore. You cannot keep playing the kindly storyteller while your name is welded to Jeffrey Epstein and a network that exploited and trafficked underage girls. Let's start with the basics. The book is called Flora and Fern: Kindness Along the Way. It was meant to come out in October 2025, got quietly pushed back, and was then rescheduled for 20 November. A sweet sequel. 2 little rabbits, a big city, kindness, and community. That's the marketing pitch. And then, just days before release, the whole thing was pulled. Not delayed, not repositioned, pulled. Thousands of copies being pulped and sent for recycling. Events canceled. The listing wiped from publishing schedules. When a publisher does that at the last second, they are not being cautious. They are admitting the author has become radioactive. Now ask why. Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 for sex offenses involving a minor. His name is tied forever to the trafficking and abuse of young girls. None of that is new. And yet, years after that conviction, Sarah Ferguson was in emails calling him her steadfast, generous, and supreme friend, and apologizing for publicly distancing herself from him. She had already told the world she regretted taking his money. She already knew exactly what he was. But privately, she was still flattering him, still begging to stay in his good books. Leaked messages reported in the press go even further. They suggest that when Epstein was released from jail, she was the first to celebrate, supposedly visiting him in New York and bringing her daughters. Her side disputes that, of course, but either way, look at the picture. A woman who knew perfectly well what he had done, knew he had been convicted, and still treated him as a patron and a friend. That is not just poor judgment, that is choosing your own comfort over the reality of what happened to those girls. Now put that beside this book. A brand new children's title, a book about kindness, safety, lessons for the next generation, scheduled for release in 2025. The very year her old emails are splashed across front pages and her ex-husband, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, finally loses his titles over the same ugly circle. The world is condemning Andrew. The world is sickened by Epstein's crimes and by everyone who stayed close to him. 7 charities have walked away from her because they no longer want her as a patron. Her children's book is being shredded. Her place at Royal Lodge is gone. This is a year of consequences. And she still thought she was the right person to lecture parents about kindness.
Why did you get divorced?
Because I suppose I'd run up a lot of debts and I needed to get out to work. And you can't be a member of the royal family and work, really, in this country. It's better to...
Is that why you got divorced?
Well, no, I think also that Andrew and I had our differences, you know. We, as you know, are really steadfast in our parenting to our 2 girls, Beatrice and Eugenie. And they're 13 and 15, and they certainly show... with their confidence and their security which they have now, that our unity in our parenting has worked.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think that's very important.
Imagine this in your own life. You get divorced at 37, like she did in 1996. Most people leave, rebuild, stand on their own feet. Instead, she stayed in her ex-husband's world for almost 3 decades, lived with him at Royal Lodge, enjoyed the comfort, the status, the insulation. Now she is 66, finally being pushed out of that house, forced to face something closer to real life. And in that same year, with Epstein's name all over the news again, with her own supreme friend emails exposed, she still expects parents to pick her book off a shelf and trust her as a moral guide for children. Is that naivete? Or is the ego just that high? This is not simply about one book being canceled. It is about people so used to being protected that they genuinely believe the rules don't apply to them. They think a new project can erase an old truth. They think a cute illustration on a dust jacket can make us forget the girls who were exploited while they took money and comfort from the man at the center of it all. They think if they talk about kindness loudly enough, no one will hear the echo of those emails. Look at the pattern. Debt and Epstein's money, denial and those private apologies, comfort at Royal Lodge long after her marriage was over. A children's book about kindness in a year in which victims are still picking through their lives and the institution around her is finally being forced to confront the filth it once kept quiet. In a year in which we lost Virginia Giuffre's life, the main survivor voice against Epstein and her ex-husband. This is not an unlucky coincidence of dates. It is a full collision between public memory and private arrogance. And here is the core. The world is not outraged because a picture book existed. The world is outraged because someone who was still emailing a convicted sex offender like he was a trusted friend now believes she can step on a stage and teach children about kindness. She lost charities because of those emails. She lost professional roles because of those emails. Now she has lost this book because of those emails. And somehow she still believes she can rebrand herself into something the past won't contradict. When people see this book being pulped, they're not seeing a professional setback. They're seeing a reality check decades overdue. A reminder that proximity to power, even secondhand, does not erase proximity to wrongdoing. And a warning that ego without accountability always end the same way. In silence, in cancellations, in boxes of books headed for recycling instead of children's hands. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I truly hope to see you in the next video.